The next review in which I will try to talk about all the structures that are seen in this sample. I will start with the spleen. It's on the right side of on the left side of the body. Starts from the 9th rib until the 11th. The 10th rib directly passes at the center. Here, as you can see, this is the spleen. It has the capsule, which is not shown. It has the splenic notch or anterior notch, also not shown. Here you have the gastric impression for the stomach. It will take time. Just know that this is the gastric impression. And below, at the side of the kidney, you have the renal impression. Of course, this is for stomach, that's for the kidney, and it's obvious. And below the gastric impression, you have a ligament attachment, which can be seen at the cadaver. It's the gastrosplenic ligament. Gastrosplenic ligament. But for the renal impression, there's a ligament also. That's the spleno, or the splenico-renal ligament. Here you see this is the hilum of the spleen. Only the splenic artery is obvious. This is the splenic artery, and nothing else. Let's see. This is the diaphragm, as you can see. This is the diaphragm. This is the muscular portion of the diaphragm. And here you have the central tendon. This is the central tendon of the diaphragm. It has 3 openings. This is the aortic opening at the level of T12, where the thoracic aorta becomes the abdominal aorta. And here's the esophageal hiatus at the level of T10 for the esophagus. And this is the caval opening at the level of T8 for inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. Okay. Let's come below. Here we said this is the abdominal aorta. This is the inferior vena cava. The branches of the aorta anteriorly at the level of T12. Here you have the celiac trunk. This is the celiac artery or trunk. At the level of L1, you have the superior mesenteric artery. At the level of L2, you have this renal artery, and suprarenal artery also. I guess also gonadal artery. No, I don't know about that one. At the level of L2, renal and suprarenal arteries. No more information. At the level of L3, you have the inferior mesenteric artery. And at the level of L4, this is the 4th lumbar vertebrae. At the level of L4, the aorta bifurcates or trifurcates to the 2 common iliac arteries, not shown, and the median sacral artery. This is the median sacral artery. Okay. Here we only can see the common iliac artery divides into external. This is the continuation of the external iliac artery, and to internal iliac artery. This is the internal iliac artery. And it divides into anterior and posterior branches. That's too much to know. Here, so see, we said this is the inferior vena cava. It has the left renal vein and the right renal vein. For the left renal vein, you have the left gonadal vein, left suprarenal vein. Okay. Let's go back to the here. You have the right gonadal vein. This is the right gonadal vein. The right suprarenal vein is not shown. We have the right ureter, as well as on this side, left ureter. Okay. The arteries. This is the right gonadal artery, left gonadal artery. Sorry. Here's the right gonadal artery. Here you have the lumbar arteries. These on this side also. You can see these are the lumbar arteries. Also accompanied with them, you have the lumbar veins draining back to the inferior vena cava. Okay, again, lumbar vein, lumbar artery. And also we said this is the kidney, as you know, suprarenal gland. Here you have the psoas major muscle. This is the psoas major itself, major. This small portion is the psoas minor. Come nearer. This is psoas minor on the other side. Psoas minor. Here is more obvious. You can see this is the border for the psoas minor. Let me draw it. Psoas minor, psoas major, and here you have the iliacus. Okay, on the muscles of the posterior abdominal area, you have quadratus lumborum. Also on this side, this is quadratus lumborum. These muscles are supplied by the lumbar plexus. Okay, and more specifically, the femoral nerve is a branch of the lumbar plexus. Descends between these 2 muscles, between the iliacus and the femoral nerve, the psoas major. The femoral nerve also supplies the iliacus. Okay, and here you have the transverse abdominus. This is the transverse abdominis muscle. What's left? Here, as you know, below the inguinal ligament, these are the superficial inguinal lymph nodes. It's important that below the umbilicus, below the level of the umbilicus, ultimately all the structures drain back to the superficial lymph nodes. Okay, this is the continuation of the external iliac artery that becomes the femoral vein, femoral artery, and yeah, that's it.